Hi, this is Lauren. Today I'm actually going to show you a demonstration on how to weave a rug on your Loopdeloom. So it's actually pretty cool. So the original Loopdeloom that comes in the box is only one. You can also buy more connecting looms that connect to your original loom. It's pretty cool. So in front of me right here, I have 4 Loopdelooms grouped together. This is really fun and really awesome. So you can grow your span of projects to be so large once you have 4 looms together. So today, like I said, I'm going to do a demonstration on how to do a rug. In front of me, I have already woven huge amount or a huge section of a weave of a rug. So all I kind of used today was when I was weaving this, I used a lot of my scrap yarn that was laying around from other previous projects, and it kind of creates a really cool type of rag rug style. So the first demonstration I'm actually going to show you today is how to do multiple wefts to weave on your loom and a couple tips and tricks. So why don't we get started? When you are using multiple wefts in your project, or when you're in general using multiple looms as well put together, there's a couple tricks I'd like to show you when weaving. So instead of weaving a whole entire section together, you're actually going to weave in sections of the individual looms. So you're going to go through about a set of 6 or 7, pull through, go through your next set of warps, pull through. This makes a little bit nicer of a pull as well for when you're creating your rugs. I've noticed that when you connect multiple looms together, if you pull too tight, your warps actually concave towards the center and your looms lift up on the sides. It's kind of awkward when you're weaving, and that's a sign that you were pulling too tight when weaving together. So again, all I'm doing is just looming in sections in here, and this is actually pretty cool from when you actually finish off your color. When you weave with multiple wefts, your pattern actually develops faster. This is pretty cool, and this is how easy it is to do an actual rug itself. When you're weaving the rug, the longest part is actually cutting the warp strand itself. There's a couple tricks that you can do. You can also just create your warp strands with one continual piece of yarn, leave a little extra at the end, and just trim it. There's a couple variations. But when it comes time to finishing off your rug, you're just going to tie off the ends in general the same way you would any other rug. So again, right now I'm just weaving 3 wefts together, showing you how to just separate in sections when weaving. And again, you always want to pull down your wefts in the loom sections. This just makes an easier pull and easier to section off, just like so. So now I've come to the end of the weave of how I want to weave the length of my rug. So I finish off and cut off the last bit of the yarn, and the last step is actually to remove all the pegs. I'm going to lift my loom up here a little bit, and you can kind of see how I have some free space of the warps hanging here. The reason why this project went so smooth and easy is, number one, I used a very thin yarn for the warps, and it's a little bit stretchy and thinner, but it's still strong. So a good way to test your warps is just to pull on the yarn and see if it breaks. My suggestion is to use the skinnier yarn. One, because it's a lot easier to weave with, and your rug itself will slide easier down the warps as you're changing out the pegs. So a simple way to remove the pegs is you're just going to pull each individual one out, because this is the end of our rug. So go down along the whole entire side of your Loopdeloom, removing all the pegs. And then I'll meet you back here in a flash, and I'll just show you how to simply tie off the end of the rug to create our awesome weave. Once you have removed all the pegs and your weave actually from your 4 Loopdelooms itself, you're left with all the fringe hanging on both ends of your rug. It's very important that you gather together 3 or 5 strands of yarn together on each end and tie them off. Also, to tie off your last ends of your weave on each end of your weave. So at this point, it's really up to you how you decide you want the layout. I would suggest laying your whole entire rug out on the floor and readjusting all the warps and the loom spacing so they're all even before you tie everything together. But this could just not be a rug. It could be a blanket, and you could actually connect two sides together. If you wanted to create something on a solid color, I would suggest using a very, very chunky yarn. The chunkier the yarn, the faster your weave is going to go. Also, the more wefts you use, the faster it's going to go as well. I would say the longest part in my suggestion was actually cutting the warp strands itself and setting up the whole entire loom. Weaving is actually a very fast process. Once you get in the work of weaving the multiple wefts and getting the motion of going back and forth, your rug is actually pretty fast to create. So I hope this video was quite instructional, and have fun weaving.